Let's talk more Broncos in that game last night and what exactly the Broncos are right now, because we're not really sure. Let's go out to Dove Valley and talk to a Broncos beat writer from right here at the Denver Post, Mike Klis, who is embedded with the Broncos every day of his life. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Back from a nice trip back from Cincinnati. So, I don't know, a little, you know how it is on those travel days, guys. They're not the easiest days, but what the heck. Merry
Thanks,
Christmas
Mike.
to you
Happy
both.
holidays to you. And yes, you're right. I'm glad I didn't have to get up at 4:30 this morning and then have to be on TV with us after listening to Fox.
Yeah, right. I tell you, Fox had some of those sarcastic answers
Can I ask you
today,
about
but,
one specifically? Were you
Yeah.
thinking, you and Troy and Benjamin was there, were you thinking at all that when they completed the pass to DT, it seemed to be, watching on television, that Peyton wanted to spike the ball right there and go for the field goal? John Fox addressed that question and said that would have been a stupid thing when somebody brought it up to him, but I firmly believe they should have kicked the field goal. They had a timeout or two left in their pocket and they had a 2-minute warning. What was your thought during the course of the game, and in reflection, what do you think after hearing what Fox said about it?
Yeah, you mean on the 3rd and 1 play
Yes.
that got intercepted? Yeah. I was in the middle of writing my gamer, and I have no idea what was going on right there. But, yeah, he was asked about that, and he basically made it sound like had it been incomplete, they were going to kick the field goal there. But I think that's why it was a pass versus a run. You were saying spike the ball right there. And I think that is why they went for the pass, because they were thinking at the very least they could stop the clock with an incomplete and then kick the field goal, so it wouldn't waste that much time. Otherwise, you know, you still have a chance to go ahead and go for 7 right there. I think that was the answer to what they were trying to do there.
Mike, a lot of people don't feel good about this Broncos team right now. We don't. A lot of the fans don't. I'm wondering how the Broncos feel about themselves right now. Is the confidence still there? Do they still feel that they are one of the better, if not the best teams in the league? You talk to these guys all the time. I'm sure you sidled up to a few guys in the locker room last night. How do they feel about themselves right now?
Well, you know, taking it step by step, defensively, I think they feel good about themselves, even though, you know, they gave up that big run for the first time. They don't have any linebackers right now. They're trying to play defense without linebackers, or at least, you know, you're talking about guys, undrafted rookies. Steven Johnson is a special teamer who's playing there. I think you saw the effects of all the injuries at the linebacker position last night. But otherwise, you know, the secondary played great, really good. They did some things defensively. I think the defense can win the Super Bowl. I think the reason why people don't feel good about the Broncos right now is Peyton Manning isn't playing well. And so you look at that. Is Peyton Manning, is he starting to feel age? Is he on the downslide? And that's what a lot of people think or wonder about. I say about Peyton Manning, be careful of the declarative blanket statements. I thought Tom Brady looked like he was done after Game 4 in Kansas City, and he came back and he played great. With the great ones, you know, Peyton Manning only has to do it. He only has to have a 3-game run. If they beat the Oakland Raiders this Sunday, he only has to do it for 3 more games after that. And that's all they really wanted out of the Peyton Manning era anyway, was 1 Super Bowl. Can he win 3? Can he get it together and play 3 good games and this team win the Super Bowl? I think that is still in him. Last night, the 3rd quarter, he was magnificent. It rained in the 4th quarter, and he was not magnificent. I think it's too early. It may be that we're seeing the decline of Peyton Manning. I'm just saying I'm not sure yet. I want to see a little bit more before making such a blanket statement on that.
And Mike, I think that everybody in Denver, whether you are a fan or not, hopes that he's not in decline. I mean, you don't want to see Peyton Manning become the Johnny Unitas who went
Willie
to
Mays, any of those guys.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything like that. I mean, do you guys? I mean, I know this. You know, here's the deal. He's got 12 interceptions in his last 8 games. He had 10 all of last year, 11 all of 2012. So we here in Colorado have never seen Peyton Manning go through a stretch like this before. And when he does go through a stretch, it's always, you know, the ball wobbles, looks like his arm strength's not there. It looks like he's getting before us. And then, but there are spurts when he still looks like the Manning of old. I also think, guys, what I think is happening more than a physical decline of Peyton Manning is this. Teams are being more aggressive with their pressure. And when they're blitzing, they're stunning, and when Peyton feels pressure, senses pressure, he throws short. The opposing teams see this on film, and so the opposing team's secondary are moving up. They're squatting on those short routes, and they're giving him the long routes, which he's hit a couple of those, and he does hit a couple of those from time to time. He's also missed a couple of those long passes here in the last few weeks. But that's how he's going to beat these type of defenses, and he hasn't been able to beat them deep because that's what they're giving him. These teams are blitzing him more. They're bringing more pressure. They had a lot of pressure on the edge last night, guys. Luis Vasquez and Ryan Clady did not play their best games at tackle, and he sensed that, and he gets rid of the ball quick. And the Bengals, as much as any team, probably since they played the Seahawks earlier this year, really squatted on those routes. I mean, they were playing up on the Bronco receivers. Those bubble screens to Demaryius Thomas that worked for tons of yardage for Peyton Manning the last couple of years. That play hasn't been there for this team. So I think that's what's happened to Peyton Manning. It's not anything physical. I don't think it's anything age. I think it's the defensive adjustments to what he has done so successfully here the last couple of years. They're taking that away. The answer is to hit the passes deep, and he either doesn't feel like he has the time to hold on to the ball and go deep, or he's been missing a couple of them that he normally has hit, in the past 2.5 years.
Mike, I would ask you, and we should mention that Mike has a very provocative, best-selling book that's, if you're still looking for a Christmas present, I don't know who in the world you wrote it with, but if anybody's interested in the Super Broncos from Elway to Tebow to Manning, you can pick it up on Amazon or at Barnes & Noble. And I know you're doing well with that, Mike, and we appreciate that you'll have an updated copy after the Broncos win the Super Bowl. Final question, how do you think they're going to handle this week? Heading into Oakland.
Well, I do think, they'll handle – I think they'll handle the Raiders and win, and I'm not sure it's going to be as easy a win. You know, it's not going to be like last year when the Raiders had cashed it in on Dennis Allen. They are playing hard down the stretch for Sperano. I think the Raiders will give them a tussle, but I do think the Broncos will win this game because they do have to win this game. This is a must-win for the Broncos. They need that week off after playing 13 games in 13 weeks. And they do have some age on that team. They don't have any sacks in the last 2 games. I think they're getting tired on defense. And Peyton Manning, as we've talked about, is 38, almost 39 years old. And then there's a bunch of bumps and bruises everywhere. This team needs that week off. They need to get refreshed. And then let's see what they do in the postseason. You know, look, the Baltimore Ravens lost 4 out of 5 going into the tournament in 2012, and they won it all. The New York Giants were 9-7 in 2011. They won it all. As bad as it looks for the Broncos right now, and it does look like it's more bust than Super Bowl right now, but they would not be the first team to go into the tournament, not exactly on a high, and come out victorious. I think New Orleans Saints lost their last 3 in 2009. So, this league ever since 2005 truly is a week-to-week mediocre league. And, it's like baseball with the next day's momentum's only up to, what is that? The momentum only up to the next day's starting pitcher. That's kind of what the NFL has become. So if they get that week off, see if they get rejuvenated, and then start all over.
Hey,
in the
Mike,
tournament.
really appreciate your time. I know it's been a long last 24 hours plus bad weather. By the way, your hair looks particularly fluffy today. Did you use a blow dryer?
No, I think I got the hoodie here. I put.
Hey, we really appreciate it, and we hope to have you on the show an awful lot.
all right.
Thanks, Mike. All right, that's Mike Klis, beat writer for the Denver Post, covering the Denver Broncos.